Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Noana, and I have a story of God's great power, something that happened to me over a lifespan, but also not that long ago, about 3 weeks. I was raised a Christian, and I knew him. And then sometime in college, I strayed away. It was a couple years before this that I had been diagnosed with a chronic inflammatory response syndrome, which essentially made me hypersensitive and allergic-ish to mold and other toxins. It caused inflammation, brain fog, fatigue, anemia, several other vague, weird symptoms. And it was annoying, but livable. And so I was adjusting to that in college. And it was about a year after or two that I got distracted. Walls built up, distractions crept in the way between me and God. He was always there, I just couldn't see him because, well, I wasn't looking too hard. Anyway, in the process of time, I got married and had a couple kids, and met my wonderful husband. But something was always missing, you know? God wasn't there. Well, he was. I just wasn't actively involved with him. Then, about a year ago, I was sitting in church, and the person speaking had prayer for everyone before the end of the service. And he said, hold in your mind what you want the most. And at that time, my brain was like, my health, I would love to have my health back. But in my heart, I knew that wasn't right. And I'm like, you know, it doesn't really matter what my health does, as long as I have Jesus. And from that moment, the Holy Spirit came into my life and changed it in ways that I was shocked to see. My health did improve at that time for about 2 months, and then it took a drastic turn for the worse. I developed mast cell activation syndrome. It causes your allergen cells to misfire, to become hyperactive, to constantly be causing allergic reactions. It made me allergic to just about everything. Through this process, I lost a bunch of weight because I couldn't eat more than like beans and rice and potatoes. And then I couldn't go anywhere. Just walking past somebody who was in a house with somebody who smoked could cause me to pass out or go into anaphylaxis. And at this time, I had 2 kids. My son was 1 and my daughter was 3. Just trying to take care of them and not die, which was rough. There for a couple months, I was going into anaphylactic shock 1 to 2 times a week. And thankfully, God helped it slow down, and I was able to eat enough to maintain my weight and do better, but I wasn't getting better. I was still having so many flare-ups. Even though I was constantly on antihistamines, I still couldn't do anything. I was so tired and lethargic that I could barely get out of bed a lot of days. And if I had the energy to go like shopping to Walmart to pick up food for my family, I'd have to wear one of those like mold gas masks so that I didn't smell any of the smells and go into anaphylactic shock while I was out. and about. I was basically stuck in my room. But during this time, I felt like God was calling me to write and produce music, which I have been doing. And this is being posted on my channel, Ransomed Out of Mercy, which is my band name. But I talked to him. I was like, Lord, you asked me to do this, but I can't do this because it's too much. It's just too much with my health the way it was. Like, I couldn't sing to record. I could sit in bed and, produce stuff on my computer, but without the singing, it's kind of boring. And around that time, I felt the need to call friends for prayer, for healing, but I didn't know who to call. Anyway, later that week, a friend called me on July 25th, and we talked, and she prayed for me. And that night, I was healed. I wasn't just healed of the mast cell stuff, but I was healed of the chronic inflammatory stuff that I've been dealing with since I was a teenager. I haven't felt this whole and healthy since I was like 16 or 17. It's been a decade. And I'm just in awe and shocked at the wonders God has done. Modern medicine has no answer for this. Both of those conditions were chronic and incurable, which is kind of ironic given that I no longer have them. They've been cured because God works miracles. He has been faithful. Through all the good times, all the bad times, he's always been faithful. And he's always been good. And I know, without a shadow of a doubt, that if God calls you to do something, he's not gonna let you not do it. He will provide what you lack. His strength is made perfect in our weakness. I've often thought of Moses. He argued with God. He was like, Lord, I can't do this. I'm not good at talking. And God was like, I made you. You can do this, but because you don't want to do this, I'll send Aaron. And I often wonder what blessings God had for Moses if he had just done what God had told him instead of fighting back. But we'll never know. I also know that, God making a way to you doing the things he called you to doesn't always work on our timetable. Because would I have loved to have been healed months ago? I would have, though I realized that I wasn't quite ready for it. Spiritually, physically, I wasn't ready to believe that he would heal me. I knew he could, I just wasn't ready to believe he would because I don't know, life doesn't work like that. But life with God does. Anyway, this is a story I can't keep to myself. And I hope that it brings you hope and comfort. And I hope you know that God is always there. I've never known him to not answer the prayer, Lord, save me.